Okay, with this question then, and in fact all questions where you can find the gradient quickly but then need also the equation of a line. We spoke about it in other videos. It's about trying to fill out this y equals mx plus c. So after, especially this morning's drop-in session, I think we're pretty good at finding the gradient then. So we identify the gradient this line as being 3. And in general, to make sure you don't lose any accuracy and stuff like that, dealing with fractions is definitely the way forward, especially when typing. Use the if you're using MathsWatch, use the little x over y function in where the plus is near the answers to put in fractions for your gradients. So the gradient of a line perpendicular to this one would be, if this one is 3 over 1, then the perpendicular gradient would be minus 1 over 3. So as Elliot mentioned earlier in the chat, when you times two gradients together, if they're perpendicular, they get the answer of minus 1. And we also saw, because the x and the y parts of those triangles that I was drawing were switching round, so the distance moved in the x direction became the distance you moved down in the y, and the number of steps you went up in the y direction became the number of steps you went along in the x direction for the gradients. So I think most people who have done this question have managed to get that the gradient is minus 1/3 x. So I would write it as minus 1 over 3 x in MathsWatch. Now I've got to figure out where it cuts the y-axis. So to do that, we're actually going to look at the answer. Okay, so here on Desmos, so I've drawn y equals 3x plus 2, that's the red line there. And then I've used the table function to put the coordinate point 35 in, which is there. And then I found that it's plus 6 is the number I need. Why is that? Well, when we know that the equation for the line is at least y equals minus 1/3 x plus c, what we know is that the point 35, as we can see from this picture here, has to live on the line, has to live on the equation that we decide for this line, which ends up being y equals minus 1/3 x plus 6. So with that in mind, we know that whatever number we put here, I've got to be able to put an x coordinate of 3 in and a y coordinate of 5 in, and it's got to abide by the rule of this equation. Okay, so we substitute 5 in for y, the y coordinate, and we do minus 1/3 times 3 for the x coordinate. Then we can figure out what number we have to put here as plus c to come up with our rule. So minus 1/3 times 3 is just -1. So minus 1 plus something has to equal 5, and that something, that c, is 6. So the equation of our line becomes y equals minus 1/3 x plus 6, as we can see there. Okay, so finding the gradient is exactly the right place to start. Try to use a fraction. I think MathsWatch prefers it. And after that, you just need to say, right, well, when I do put in my point, what number, when I put in my x and my y value into my equation of my line, what extra number do I need at the end to make the rule work so that when I stick in x equals 3, I get back the y value of 5.